Hey class, Prof JC here, and it is good to be back doing these podcasts with you. I've missed doing these. We've had a lot of things happening in the last few weeks, and now we're getting ready to barrel into Thanksgiving week, which I'm sure that you are grateful for, and I know that I am certainly grateful for. And so what I wanted to do today is I wanted to talk about gratitude, which is it is a core principle. It's not even a value for me. It's a core principle in my own life. I have found gratitude to be the foundation for anything good in my life. Anything good that has happened, I think, has started with a posture and mindset of gratitude. And so I thought I would kind of weave gratitude today with ethical decision making. So we're going to try to do that today. These two, we don't typically talk about the two, but there's a way that we can bring these together. I want to start by sharing with you my definition of gratitude. And so I want you to kind of accept this definition, at least for what we're talking about this week, and then you can go back to whatever definition you have. My definition goes a little bit like this. Gratitude is the awareness, acceptance, and appreciation of all that life has brought to us, is bringing to us, and will bring to us. Okay, I'll say that one more time. Gratitude is the awareness, acceptance, and appreciation of all that life has brought to us, is bringing to us currently, and will bring to us in the future. That's all that gratitude is. It's such a grounding mindset. And so I have found in my own life that when I take this mindset, it brings personal responsibility. It means that no matter what I'm facing, whether it's something that's positive and something that you want to shout to the rooftops, or if it's something that is negative, and something that most people would look at and say, that's not something I want to go through. I have found that when I'm aware of those things, I accept those things and I appreciate those things, have genuine appreciation for all of it. I have found that this to be a foundational aspect in some of the great things that have happened in my own life. And so this is something I shout to the rooftops. I think gratitude is foundational for everything. And I remember a time in my life just not long ago, 5 years ago even, I picked this up, I guess 2017. So I guess that's 7 years ago is when I picked it up at the end of 2017. And before that, I would say that I didn't live a life of gratitude at all. As a matter of fact, I found myself just negative thinking all the time. I could see the worst in anybody. I could see the worst in any situation. It's something I still wrestle with to this day. But back then it was just, everything was negative. Found myself gossiping all the time, just gossip, negative, always negative. Again, I still fight that, but back then, and then I switched it up, and I won't go into the story about how that happened, but then I switched up to a mindset of positivity, and it was just like within 18 months, my whole life just started to take off, and things that I dreamed of for years started to happen, and I credit gratitude at the foundation of all of this. And so today we're going to mix it up because this is the season of gratitude. It's the season of Thanksgiving, right? And so I hope that you're going to be surrounded by friends, family, whoever it is that you want to be surrounded by next week. I hope that you're surrounded. And maybe some of you are more introverted like I am, and you just need a whole week away from everybody. And if that's what you need, I hope you get that as well. And believe me, I understand that. But let's talk a little bit about gratitude and ethical decision making as a way to kind of bring the current season we're in to this current subject we're talking about and try to mix the two of these. Gratitude and ethical decision making are two concepts that may not immediately appear connected. Gratitude is often viewed as a personal value, a quiet moment of appreciation, a simple thank you. Ethical decision making, on the other hand, is seen as a structured framework for navigating challenging choices. However, these two ideas are deeply intertwined. Gratitude serves as the foundation upon which ethical decision making can thrive. When leaders embrace gratitude, they cultivate clarity, empathy, humility, enabling themselves to make decisions that uplift not only themselves, but also the people and communities in which they serve. I really appreciate that. How it talks about gratitude cultivates clarity. And it's everything we just talked about. Why? Because it centers us right here in the present. So we're grateful for what has been. We're grateful for what currently is. We're grateful for what is going to happen in the future. It's such a centering thing for all of us. Gratitude at its core is the intentional practice, and it's something we have to do daily. And it's something we have to almost force ourselves to do. I find myself sometimes when I'm in my most negative moments, right? I'm tired, I'm exhausted, and so my brain just wants to go to where it thrives, that negative space. I have to be very intentional about getting back into the journal, thinking from a position of gratitude, seeing life from a position of gratitude. It's not always easy to do. It's the intentional practice of recognizing the contributions and connections that shape our success. It is not merely an expression of politeness, but a mindset that it acknowledges the relational nature of life. For leaders, gratitude is a profound acknowledgement that their achievements are not theirs alone. Success is often the result of collaboration, mentorship, and even the unseen efforts of others. When leaders embrace gratitude, they shift their focus from what is lacking to the resources and relationships they already have. This abundance mindset, and I love when we talk about that abundance mindset, a lack mindset is almost like the opposite of a growth mindset. A lack mindset just looks at everything and says, there's not enough for me. A lack mindset is where insecure people come out of, right? There's just not enough in the world around for me. So I have to take, and hoard. It's all for me. And so these are the worst kind of people that we put into leadership positions, right? Because they don't see the world as abundant and that there's good out there for you. There's good out there for me. I grew up around a lot of that. I grew up my entire life growing up was centered around a very small church back in a very small town. And there was just so much of this lack mindset. And so again, this is something I still, even to this day, at 45 years of age, have to consistently kind of work through. The abundance mindset fosters a deep sense of responsibility, inspiring leaders to use their influence and resources, not just for personal advancement, but for the benefit of others. And that's key. Right? By practicing gratitude, leaders align themselves with values that prioritize relationships, trust, and integrity over self-serving pursuit. Now let's look at gratitude as the foundation for ethics. Ethical decision-making often presents itself in moments of conflict, competing interests, uncertainty, and the pressure to act swiftly. In these moments, gratitude becomes an invaluable compass. Why? Because gratitude reminds us, again, we just talked about this, of the interconnectedness and encourages us to consider the broader impacts of our actions. And that's really important, again, as leaders, that we get centered, that we don't base decisions out of emotion, right? One of the things we talked about in this class is a life of ethics, right? If you look at it from the perspective of Aristotle, one cannot know. Let me back up. A life of ethics is the pursuit of happiness. One cannot know if they've truly lived a happy life until the end of their life. This is what Aristotle would say, because at that point you can look back and say, did I make right decisions? Did I make good decisions? And so at the end of my life, can I look back and see a pattern of good choices, see a pattern of good decisions? Gratitude can help us with this, because gratitude centers us in whatever it is, that we're facing, right? Gratitude can help us see the things that maybe we can't see just in our typical emotions. It's just such a grounding thing to do if we do it intentionally and if we do it consistently. And leaders need to be doing it the most, so that when we get ready to make decisions that will impact not only our lives but the lives of other people, that we're making these decisions from a grounded perspective, not based out of emotions, reacting quickly, right? Now, not all of the decisions that we're going to make as leaders are going to please everybody. That's part of it. But even that a mindset of gratitude can help us make the harder decisions, the more difficult decisions, right? When we understand that that even the process of decision making, even when it's difficult, is making me a better person. It's making me a better leader, making me a better manager, whatever it might be. Okay. Consider a leader faced with the decision to cut corners to boost profits. Without gratitude, they may focus solely on short-term financial gains. However, a leader grounded in gratitude might reflect on the contributions of their employees, the trust of their customers, and the well-being of the community. Gratitude shifts the decision-making process from a transactional approach to one rooted in relationships and long-term impact. It urges leaders to make choices that honor the people and values involved, fostering trust and integrity in the process. I love that. So we want to make a decision that maybe will benefit us short term. Gratitude helps us to see long term. Again, it centers us. It focuses us on everything right now. And so as a business owner, I started expressing gratitude for my employees, started expressing gratitude for my vendors, my suppliers, my clients, the people I work with on a day-to-day basis, or whatever it might be. Now I'm much more calm. I'm able to make a decision that is much more ethical, maybe even moral, maybe even legal, right? Because now I've thought from a much more centered perspective than just how do I cut corners today to make today work. And I know for someone like myself, and I'm sure you feel the same way, there are certain values that I want to live by. And at the end of my life, one of the most important things that I hope that people will say of me, and it's a pretty boring word, is that JC has been consistent. That when JC said he was going to do something, we knew he was going to do it. He showed up consistently every time. My kids, I hope they say that. Grandkids, I hope they say that. The people that I work with, hopefully the students that I'm able to help empower, the clients that I work with. That's the one thing that I hope they say is that this person was consistent. I never had to worry if emotions were going to overtake JC and he was going to make decisions based on emotions. And this could be something as small as, hey, I'm tired, so I'm not going to get the work done. Or, hey, I'm not feeling it. I made a commitment to show up to XYZ, but I just don't feel like doing it today, so I'm not going to do it. These are things that lack consistency, right? So for me, that's a really important principle. It's an important value in my own life. Gratitude can help do that. It shifts away from that short term, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I don't want to do this thing, whatever it is, shifts it away and helps start thinking from a long-term perspective. And even, a long-term perspective can even be something along the lines of, I'm trying to make this simple decision today and I'm really exhausted and I don't want to make it, or I don't want to do it, or whatever it is. And then I come to a moment of gratitude and I realize that at some point in my life, the emails are all going to quit. The phone calls aren't going to come in anymore. No one's going to ask me to speak at anything. No one's going to ask for my opinion on anything. I'm going to be sitting somewhere and it's going to be me and just a few people around me if I'm lucky. And I will live the rest of my life that way because that is the circle of life. That's how it goes. And so even just gratitude in decision making today, if I think long term and realize I'm exhausted today, there's certain things I don't want to do today, but the ethical decision, the right decision, the moral decision is to get this thing done. Because you know what? One day, JC, the phone is not going to ring anymore for me. And it's not going to ring anymore for you. That's something I want you to think about for your own self as well. So I'm getting off on a tangent here, but I'm trying to prove the point that gratitude can help us in big decisions, but also in the small decisions, even just showing up in the best way we can for the people around us. Now let's look at empathy and humility in ethical leadership, and we're just about done here. Gratitude also cultivates two essential traits for ethical leadership: empathy and humility. Empathy allows leaders to step into the shoes of others and consider the human impact of their decision. A leader who practices gratitude is naturally more attuned to the needs and experiences of their teams, customers, stakeholders. This perspective broadens the scope of ethical decision-making beyond compliance, emphasizing care and consideration for others. I want to tell you how important this is even today as I'm thinking about this. We just finished up our executive networking event just the other day, and it went well. We had a great time. But the one thing that really upset me, and if I'm honest with you, I would say pissed me off, okay? The DJ did not show up. And we paid good money, and for this DJ, we pay ahead of time. And they didn't show up. So it's 3 o'clock and there's no DJ. It's 4 o'clock, and then I show up around 4:30, 4:45, and I show up and I say, "Where's the DJ?" And so I start texting, I start calling, I start emailing, right? Everything I've got, to get a hold of this DJ, and they're not calling back, they're not texting back, they're not writing back. And this is a person, when he wants his check, he's on it quick. And I'm not just mad, I'm pissed. Okay, I'm really upset about this, and I had to be careful because I was close to letting that one thing impact the entire night, right? For me personally. And then I got a text later on from the gentleman. He said, "Hey, man, I am so sorry." And actually right before the event said, "I'm sorry, we got our wires crossed." I think what happened was the person we work with, he kind of contracts out to different people, and he didn't follow up with the person he contracted out. So the person he contracted out for was doing other things, didn't know, it wasn't on his calendar. So somebody dropped the ball, but it wasn't us. We'd followed up even that day, or the day before, I think. We'd followed up, we'd sent some things to them. So we had done our due diligence, we'd done our work on this. So I thought about that. I thought, well, what did I do to cause this? And so he sends a text, and if I had my phone next to me, I'd actually read it. But in it, he just says, "Hey, would you give me a chance to make this right? I feel so bad about this. We'll send you a refund for this one, and we'll do the next one free for you." And I got to be honest, I'm driving home that night, and we had a great night, but all I'm thinking about is this DJ who dropped the ball, okay, on us. And then I'm going to tell you, the last couple of days, I've just been thinking about this DJ who dropped the ball on us. And then I'm putting together this assignment today, the ethical decision making, gratitude, all this. And I'm realizing I need to give this guy another chance, right? We all make mistakes. Now, if he does it one more time, he's done, and I'm going to get on Yelp, and I'm kidding. I probably won't get on Yelp, but I won't be happy, and he'll be done, because this is a marketplace, and you just don't do that to people in the marketplace. You hold to your commitments. You are consistent. That's what I talked about earlier. But even just reading through this and putting this together and thinking about it, I said, I got to give this guy another chance. So we're going to do it, right? Because we all make mistakes. When gratitude is the foundation, right? If I'm able to stop back, and even that night driving home, and I said, "Okay, JC, you're in a negative headspace about one thing that could not have been, you couldn't control it. And the rest of the night was great. You're letting this impact you." And so I was able to kind of back up and say, "Okay, well, let's go to a mindset of gratitude." And then by the time I got home, I just was on cloud nine, because I realized it was a really great night. And so even going through this, I realized that gratitude helps us to make better decisions. Because what I want to do, and immediately that entire night, the thing I was thinking about is, I'm going to get on Yelp, and I'm gonna give this person the worst review. I'm gonna tell everyone how they didn't show up. I'm gonna tell everyone how they weren't consistent, how we paid them money, and just thinking all of this through, I just realized that that's not the way to go about it. We need to give this person another chance, because all of us are fallible. We all make mistakes. Now it goes back to that saying: "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me." So if it happens again, then obviously I didn't make the right decision. But anyway, that's the point that I wanted to make here. Humility, similarly, is strengthened by gratitude. Recognizing the contributions of others fosters a sense of humility, reminding leaders that they do not have to have all the answers. And that's key for all of us. Ethical decision making is rarely a solo endeavor. It requires input, feedback, and collaboration. Leaders who approach decisions with gratitude and humility are more open to diverse perspectives, enabling them to make more informed and ethical choices. So here are some practical steps that we can take as leaders. Number one is this: start with gratitude. And I love this. Here's what I recommend. Begin meetings, decision making sessions, or even your day with a moment of reflection on what you're grateful for. I have found that in my in-person classes, when we start with gratitude, it transforms everything inside of a class. And I remember years ago when I wasn't doing it, you just show up and just dive into the material. There's a lot of people in the room that they're coming from work. They've got problems. They've got financial issues. They've got spouse issues, partnership issues, business issues, whatever it is. And they're bringing all that into the classroom at 5:30 p.m. over at Mission Valley. And I'd find, why is everyone grumpy, this entire class? And then something, I'd already had this practice with other places I'd been before. So I said, well, let's implement it in the classroom. It's amazing what it does to a class. There was one class, I'll never forget it. And we started, and it was just supposed to be a simple 10-minute kind of gratitude, 10 to 15 minutes kind of gratitude. We ended up going half the class, half of us, and I say us because I include myself in this, were in tears by the time we got done, because we heard some really powerful things that came out of that moment of gratitude in that class. So I want to encourage you, if this is something you listen to and say, JC, okay, I want to apply this to my life, not only do it in your own life, but bring it to your team. Right? It's not something that you're forcing on your team, that you're saying, hey, every single day you have to, whatever. But maybe when you start a meeting, say, hey, let's just go around. It just gives people a chance to say something great that's happening in their own life. I promise you, it's going to make a difference for you. Okay. So anytime you're getting ready to make a decision, I would say, before I make this decision, especially if it's going to be a tough decision, I'd say, well, let me start with gratitude. Just ground myself right now. Anytime the team has to make a tough decision, ground yourself first with gratitude. Okay. This simple act can reframe your mindset, helping you approach challenges with, again, clarity and perspective. So when we make decisions, ethical decisions, and why do we want to make ethical decisions? Because at the end of our lives, we want to say that we've lived happy lives. We can only do that, according to Aristotle, if we look back and we've made lots of good decisions. How do we make good decisions? Well, we can ground ourselves in gratitude first. That's number one. Number two, ask the gratitude question. When faced with an ethical dilemma, pause and ask, how can I show gratitude to those impacted or affected by this decision? This question often reveals paths forward that align with both ethical principles and relational values. Okay. Even if you're at a point where you've got to fire somebody, you've got to let somebody go, which I think is probably one of the toughest decisions that any employer can make. You stop and you say, well, even in this situation, how can I show gratitude to this person? Okay. Even though I've got to let them go, it's not going to work out here at the company, but there's something they did. There's a reason why we hired this person in the first place. And there's a reason why they stuck around for 6 months, 2 years, 6 years, whatever it is, right? So there's something that we can offer gratitude for. And even that in the process will help us as we make that decision. It may not help them in the moment, but hopefully it does. Hopefully they look back one day and say, you know what, when that company fired me, and they're thinking about you, when you let them go, they did it with grace and dignity, and they did it with gratitude. And I felt grateful for the time that I had at that place. It's a great thing. And then number three is this: model gratitude-driven ethics. That's a very cool thing. It might be a future book down the road. Gratitude-driven ethics. Share stories of gratitude and ethical, decision-making with your team. Celebrate moments when integrity was prioritized over convenience or profit. By doing so, you create a culture where gratitude and ethics are not just ideals, but everyday practices. In conclusion, gratitude and ethical decision-making are not separate pursuits, but complementary forces that can transform leadership. Gratitude grounds leaders in their values, fosters empathy and humility, and equips you to make decisions that honor your interconnectedness with other people. Ethical decisions, in turn, create environments of trust and integrity where gratitude can thrive. A true measure of a leader's success is not found in the accolades they receive or the profits they amass, but in the impact they leave on others. Leaders who practice gratitude and embrace ethical decision-making leave a legacy that transcends their personal achievements. They inspire trust, build enduring relationships, and create a ripple effect of positive change. As we navigate the complexities of leadership, let us ask one simple question: how can gratitude shape the decisions we make? And by answering this question with intention and courage, we can lead with integrity and purpose, leaving the world better than we found it. And not only just leaving the world better than we found it, leaving the people that we are lucky to lead better than we found them. So here's our question for today. Okay, I got 3 questions for you, and I just want you to sound off on this. How does, based on this video, based on what we've talked about in this video, how does gratitude impact ethical decision making? Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, what are the 3 practical steps that we said in this video? Okay, the 3 practical steps that every leader can take in order to integrate gratitude into ethical decision making. And then number 3, it's the question that was just asked: how can gratitude shape the decisions that you make personally and professionally? Okay, how can gratitude shape the decisions that you make personally and professionally? I just want you to reflect on this as we enter into the season of Thanksgiving. There will be no work next week, and as a matter of fact, I think I'm going to give you 2 weeks to get this done, so you can get this. No, I'm not going to do that. Scratch that. I want you to get it done so you have nothing to do over Thanksgiving week, because some of you will wait till the last minute and you're going to have your Thanksgiving week to do this. Don't do that. Okay, I want you to have all of Thanksgiving week off so you can spend time with your family and your friends and the people that you love the most. Hey, I want to say this: I'm grateful for every single one of you, and I mean that. It's great to go through your assignments every single week, and some of you I've met in person. I know you, and so when I see your name come up, it brings a smile to my face. I'm incredibly grateful for you. Thank you for choosing Point Loma. Thanks for choosing us, and hopefully we're adding value to your life. Thanks for all you do. Have a wonderful week. This week and next week with your family, and we'll come back with our final 3 weeks, and we will end our class strong as we continue to work forward with our case studies and all that kind of stuff. Hey, thanks so much, everybody. You take care. I'll see you in the next episode.